You've heard of Atlantis, but what if I told you America has its own disappearing islands and entire towns are sinking right now? And here's the strange part. Many of these communities still have people living in them. Out in the Chesapeake Bay, there was once a thriving island called Holland Island. At the turn of the 1900s, it had schools, churches, dozens of fishing families, and a booming oyster industry. People raised their children there, built two-story wooden homes, and lived what they believed would be stable, generational lives. But nature had a different plan. By the 1920s, residents noticed something horrifying. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, do you think the U.S. will lose more islands in the next 50 years? Yes or no? But here's where things get strange. The island wasn't just eroding slowly. It began to disappear at a pace no one could explain. Entire chunks of land collapsed into the ocean overnight. Families would wake up to find their gardens gone, their fences washed away, and their homes leaning sideways. Fishermen reported hearing the land itself groaning during storms, as if the island were alive and dying. The ocean was swallowing Holland Island. By 1918, the islanders were forced to abandon their homes. The last house, the famous white Victorian house, collapsed into the sea in 2010. Today, Holland Island exists only in photographs. About 45 miles away sits another island, Tangier Island, Virginia. Population around 400. Culture, a unique community with accents tracing back to 17th century English settlers. But Tangier is disappearing too, fast. Scientists estimate the entire island may vanish by 2050. The people of Tangier speak of tides creeping higher every year. During storms, waves crash directly into backyards, tearing apart ground that had been solid land only months earlier. One resident described it perfectly. We used to walk to church, now we are boating. But here's where things get strange. Scientists studying Tangier discovered that the island is sinking from below while the sea rises from above, a deadly combination. Marine geologists mapped the land and found that the island sits on a slowly collapsing tectonic plate. Meanwhile, rising sea levels from melting ice caps accelerate the drowning process. In other words, Tangier is disappearing no matter what anyone does. Residents tried building seawalls, sand berms, and emergency shoreline reinforcements. But every year, the ocean takes back a little more. Homes are being abandoned. Graves are being moved. A 250-year-old community is fighting for survival. In this video, you'll uncover the unbelievable true stories of American islands that are vanishing underwater, swallowing homes, history, and entire cultures, sometimes within a single generation. These aren't remote, far-off places. They're right here, in Maryland, Louisiana, Alaska, Virginia, and more. This is America's hidden crisis, one almost no one talks about. Down in Louisiana lies Ile de Jean-Charles, home to the Biloxi Chitimacha Choctaw tribe. This island has been disappearing for over a century. But the speed is shocking. Over 98% of the island has already vanished. Where there were once forests and farmland, now there is only water. Miles and miles of it. Roads leading to the island look something out of a disaster film. A narrow strip of asphalt surrounded by swamp, sinking a little more every month. Families pack what they can carry and leave, becoming America's first modern climate refugees. One elder said, "The water took our past, now it's taking our future." Far from the lower 48 states, the Alaskan village of Shishmaref sits on a barrier island being eaten alive by the Arctic Ocean. Here's the terrifying part. The land isn't just sinking, the ground itself is melting. Shishmaref rests on permafrost, frozen soil, but rising temperatures are turning that frozen base into mud. Entire homes slide toward the sea. Waves carve away the coastline at up to 10 feet per year. The community voted to relocate, but the cost? $200 million. Money they don't have. So people stay, watching the land vanish beneath their feet. But the real mystery is, what happens when the ocean wins? Some scientists warn that more than 30 U.S. island communities may